Monday, December 14, 2020, and this day we continue rejoice because we are approaching to welcome in our hearts the King, the Lord, the Prince of Peace, Jesus Christ the Savior. For Catholic, no Catholics, Christians, no Christians, believers, no believers, this season is very important for us, especially under the circumstances of this year that was not usual. This year was a phenomenal, seeing the COVID-19 change our perspective and the prerogatives in our lives. Also today it's opportunity that we can develop in our lives something special, the spirit of share. You can share with feelings of charity kind of your time, talents, or treasure. Your financial support is very important for us because we continue hiring people in different expertise areas to help other people that they are difficult and struggles, but also to attend people needs like clothes, food, medicine, and so on. Today is very important to understand that how concept we had about the obedience and authority. Sometimes we suggest to the authority we see in different perspective, but sometimes blind obedience to the authority is perjudicial, is kind of dangerous for everyone, jeopardize. Just because what the experiment performed in 1960s in the University of Yale by psychologist Stanley Milgram. Milgram experiment was how people obeyed orders, no matter what. They didn't thinking about that. There was 30 levels whose shock values ranges between 15 volts to the maximum of 150 volts. In actuality, no electric shock was involved. The learner was an actor who only pretended receiving them, but the subject didn't know this. Despite the learner's increasingly painful screamings and pleas to stop, a majority of subjects, over 60% average, obeyed the experiment's commands to continue and ending to giving up the maximum shock of 450 volts. We did not need to Milgram's research to inform us that people had a potential to obey authority. What it did enlighten us about its surprising stretch of what the tendency that many people are willing to obey destructive orders that conflict with their moral principles and commit acts which they will not carry out in their own initiative. Milgram's discovery about the unexpectedly powerful human tendency to obey authorities can be applied to the real life in several different ways. First, it provides a reference point of certain phenomena that, on the face of it, strengthen our understanding, thereby making them more plausible. Clearly, the implications of Milgram's research have been greatest to understand the Holocaust. For instance, a historian described that behavior of Nazi mobile unit rumored to Polish countryside that killed 38,000 Jews and could blew out the blinding of their commander, conclude that many of Milgram's insights find graphic confirmation in the behavioral testimony and the main research policies Battalion 101. Today is important for us too. Maybe we had not under the same circumstances of the Nazis. Maybe we had not the same circumstances of the experiment of Milgram's experiment. But today, we experience more something terrible than to obey or something that is not human. It's horrible. It's worse than the Nazis' camp of concentration. Abortion. When somebody with no sense, we have no clear understandable how to kill the human being, to destroy an innocent, an indefamed person. And this applies today. Some people is just follow the rules, follow the obedience orders of somebody to kill the innocent. In that same way, today the gospel tells us about that the politicians, religious was at that time, was trying to be partisan or be partisan. They trying to satisfy people and also to see welcome for other peoples in religious way. They asking where John's baptism from? It is of heavenly or human origin. They discussed this among themselves and said, if you say of heavenly origin, he will say to us, then why do you not believe in? But if we say of human origin, we fear the crowd, for they all regard John as the prophet. So they say to Jesus in reply, we do not know. This is a perfect example of how not to live your life. But sadly, this is too often an illustration of the way many in authority to live their lives. In these gospel passages, we see the Pharisees acting as what we may term said religious politicians. A religious politician is one whose religious convictions are decided in a backward sort of way. Ideally, we will turn our eyes to Christ and all that He has revealed to us. This will produce the glorious gift of authentic faith, and from that rock foundation of faith we act. But the Pharisees allowed their convictions to be based on what they perceive will produce the best outcome at the moment. Which happen the same thing today. Many religious people has politicians standing, and they prefer to produce the best outcome at the moment. They chose to say, we do not know where John's baptism was from because they thought it was the answer that must safeguard them from any criticism. As followers of Christ, we need to be ready and willing to suffer any and a ridicule that comes from living our conviction of faith in open way. Today you have the opportunity to stand up and proclaim the faith, because soon, very soon, we are going to see the King. And pray for you, pray for me. May God bless you.